Yeah, let's roll.
Please remain seated. You are now entering the Nerd Bunker.
Hello world! And I can say hello world because I know for a fact that there are people listening all over the world. My name's Hayley and this is Mike.
Hello.
And we are the Nerd Bunker podcast. So, the magic is happening. People are listening to the podcast. I'm feeling pretty damn good about that. Thank you for listening. Are you enjoying it? Talk to us. You can talk to us on Twitter at NerdBunkerPod, Instagram, NerdBunkerPod, Facebook, Nerdbunker Podcast. Send us a message. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Get involved in the conversation.
We do have an email as well, don't we? At nerdbunkerpod@gmail.com.
We do. Don't send us horrible spam. Don't be mean.
No.
But yeah, you know, we get involved. Chat to us. Tell us what you think. I really, really enjoyed the last episode talking about our kid cartoons, and I was really proud of it. So if you're not listening to that episode, go and listen to it. And let's start as we always do. What have you been up to?
What did I do last week? I haven't really watched anything. I seem to have been awfully busy with other bits and pieces, so that's quite short. I haven't read anything because I've been busy.
What have you been doing?
I don't know. I honestly don't know where my time goes. We record this, and then by the time I've squeezed in 2 or 3 games of D&D or whatever we're playing, it doesn't leave me long to do anything else.
No time for TV. You need that sitting on your bum time.
I listened to a BBC podcast called Children of the Stones.
All right,
and
not heard of that one.
it's only a short run. I think there's only maybe 6 or 7 episodes. They're like 20 minutes each, and it's a remake of the 1977 kids TV show.
All right.
And it's basically like it's a daughter and a father moved to a village called Milbury, and the village is surrounded by like stone circles.
Ooh.
And things are not quite all it seems in the village. I mean, the kids, the 1977 kids show is a bit creepy anyway. It's one of them older TV shows, and you're like,
yeah.
that's fucking weird. But the way they've done it as a podcast has been really good.
I mean, there are some children's things that I think are a lot scarier than supposed 18 rated scary things. You've literally just reminded me of a kids film. It's actually a Disney film. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Watcher in the Woods.
I don't think I have. Does not ringing any bells.
It's a live action, and it's got Bette Midler in it. No, not Bette Midler. Bette Davis. Christ. No, not Bette Midler.
Bette Midler was Hocus Pocus, wasn't she?
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. No, Bette Davis, the scary one. And it's not even her that scares me. But in this film, it's this American family move to this house in some countryside in England. I won't say too much, just, you know, in case anybody watches it. But there is a haunted presence in the grounds of this house. And even watching it now, I still think it's like really scary. There's like this bit where, I don't know, they've just got a green light on this girl's face, but the way she's like talking, and the atmosphere, the wind blowing through the trees, and oh God, it proper freaked me out. And I think I've been more scared of that, for the atmosphere in that, than I have of, you know, allegedly rated 18 horror films.
Did you ever watch The Box of Delights?
No. What was that?
That was a BBC series in about 1988, I think.
Yeah.
And And that was another one that was really creepy as an adult and bloody strange as a child. I think they're all on YouTube. Children of the Stones is on YouTube. I know that because I looked just before we came on. I think Box of Delights is on there as well.
Yeah. Well, if my film, Watcher in the Woods, is definitely a Disney film, so I'm presuming it's on the Disney Channel. I've not actually checked. I'm too scared.
Not all Disney's on Disney Plus.
No, don't they have to wait until like certain contracts and things end?
I don't know.
Or is there?
I know that Songs of the South isn't on there.
Yeah, but that's for I don't want to say racial reasons because that's not.
No, it is.
It is, but there's a better word for it. There's a bigger word like discriminatory portrayal of ethnic minorities or something. But I think they shouldn't deny these films. They should just have a warning on at the beginning. I watched something the other day. Oh, we watched Dumbo from the Disney Channel, and they just had a bit on the beginning.
A tobacco warning.
Well, no, about that exact thing that I've just said that I can't remember even though I've just said it. Discriminatory portrayal of like people from ethnic minorities. Because when they're setting up the circus, it's basically all black animated characters that are doing the setting up, all the hard labour. So I assume that's what that was about. But I think I'd rather them have the films on, but just say, you know, this is wrong. We don't live like that anymore. But this film was made. I don't know. Didn't intend on going down this hole.
No, it's a very tricky tightrope.
It is
for Disney to walk down.
They do a lot better in things like that these days. So we'll leave that conversation there. I'm sure we'll come back to it another day. Oh, have you heard? Lucasfilm and Ubisoft are apparently working on a Star Wars story open world game.
I hadn't heard that. I did see something about Lucasfilm redoing basically like LucasArts gaming. So maybe that was it. I didn't read the article because they had LucasArts, the computer game company, but then when Disney brought it, they shut it down.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of just assumed they'd sort of redone it.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a two-pronged point because Lucasfilms and I never know if I pronounce this properly, Bethesda or Bethesda. They're working on an Indiana Jones game. So they're both Lucasfilms, but the Star Wars one is with Ubisoft and the Indiana Jones is with Bethesda. And they're both, I think, open world sandboxy games.
As long as it comes out on the PlayStation, because Bethesda got brought out by Microsoft. So they were on about things like Fallout and that being like Microsoft exclusives.
Ooh.
So I hope they don't go down that road.
Oh, no. They can have it a bit early. I don't mind if they have it a bit early, but they've got to put it on PlayStation as well because they'll make more money.
As you know, I have a PlayStation and I really wanted Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone I'd play it with, but I just wanted to sail around and play at pirates. It looked better if you've got mates.
I'm going to be a pirate.
But of course, that was Xbox only, to the point where I would actually go into game and I'd be looking at second-hand Xboxes thinking, do I buy one just for that game?
Oh,
like,
mate.
No. But yeah, I mean, I hoped that Lucasfilm Gaming, whatever it's called, will remake or bring out new Monkey Island games. I loved the series of Monkey Island games.
Yeah, that's the one with Guybrush Threepwood.
Yes.
Yeah. I do remember playing one, and one of the voices was, oh, what's his name? Monty Python.
Eric Idle, probably.
That's the one. Yeah, he was like one of the voices on it, and that must have been, PlayStation
2. Yeah, that's probably
Two?
the only one that was on
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah.
2 was Escape from Monkey Island.
Yeah, that was probably it, to be fair. No, that was I remember playing
Bloody
that.
hard.
Yeah. Oh, I think I did a few, I was going to say Google a walkthrough, but clearly we weren't doing that back then. But I obviously looked something up somewhere.
It took me hours to work out the mists of time.
Yeah.
And even when we were doing things like the monkey combat and the insult sword fighting,
Yeah.
you have to have certain responses to a certain saying.
How do you feel about getting stuck on a game and then just hopping on a YouTube tutorial walkthrough?
I tend, if I get stuck, I'll try everything I can to try and beat it. I know me, so I'd rather go and Google how to do it, because if I didn't, I'd just lose interest at that, and then I'd think, well, that was however much I've spent on the game as a waste of money.
Yeah.
But I tried to do my best before, and then I'll admit defeat and go, no, sod it, how did I do it? And then normally an 8-year-old shows me on YouTube.
Yeah.
Look, you just pushed this, mister.
Because when I played, oh God, what number was it? Resident Evil 7, I think it was called. There were certain bits where I just got really stuck with like a big bad. And I get to a point where I get so frustrated and angry, it's like I'm just gonna like sack this game off, or I have to have a bit of help and figure out what the hell I need to do.
Is it really any different to they used to publish game guides?
Games Master Magazine.
Yeah, is it really any different? It's kind of like a modern version of that, I suppose.
Not really. I think it's more how long do you wait between getting annoyed and then looking at a walkthrough? Is that a personal sort of an ego issue?
About 5 minutes for me.
It depends how angry I get, and am I going to throw the controller at something, not at the TV, because that was expensive.
Do you get angry at them?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, I was playing, I think it was Resident Evil actually, and I'm downstairs playing it, and something happened. One of these, there's a big bad where it like, imagine some sort of octopus type thing with different legs, and it has lots of eyes everywhere in different places, and they sort of bulge out and bulge back in again, and you have to hit each eye, and they're, different sizes. And I just could not get this bloody thing, and I am shouting, and then when I get really angry, I stop shouting and I just start thumping the chair. And like I'm just hitting the arm of this chair like really, really angrily, like my life depends on it. But I've learned to put the controller away because they're like 60 quid a pop now. So I'm like, don't break the controller, kill the chair, kill the chair.
I was playing, I think it was a PlayStation 2 game. I think it was something like, I think it was called Curry Mix or something. It was a weird Japanese game. And it was a two-player game, but you really had to work together. So if the first player went off the screen, the other one couldn't move because it couldn't be seen, and you had to stand on certain bits to lift bits for the other player. I was playing it with my wife, and she got so angry at it that, you know the shape of the PlayStation controller? She actually held one end of it and cracked me on the head. And I hope she doesn't listen to this, because she'll be like, "Whoa, what'd you tell everyone that for?"
Oh my God.
But yeah, she literally got hold of it and cracked on the top of my head.
Were you doing it wrong?
I think I got concussion because I can't remember.
Oh God. I can't remember.
We never played it again. I was like, no. Still own it, but I've never played it.
Oh, me and my other half were playing Splinter Cell, I think. And I couldn't get to grips with controlling the figure. I think it was first person, and I'm not very good at first person. My brain, I don't know, it just doesn't sort of click into place with them sort of things. I need to see the figure. And there's like all these guys coming at you, shooting you. And I'm just like looking around, like got my character's heads up in the air, just sort of swinging around because I just couldn't get to grips with controlling it. And he's, what are you doing? What? And getting really angry at me. What are you doing? The killing us. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Or I'm stood next to a brick wall and I couldn't get away from it. Oh,
I'd get angry when I'd play like Call of Duty, and then you'd always get one of them little shits that knew where you'd respawn. So you'd literally
5-year-old.
Just load it up, and it'd go pew and shoot you dead, and you'd be like, "Oh, you bastard!"
Yeah, I don't play them sort of games. That's why I gear up.
I don't anymore because I was playing it at the time the Xbox was in the bedroom, and I was playing it one day, and there was I don't know how old he was. He was a kid, and he just kept going. I'm not going to give out my username, but it was like, "You're a wanker, you're a wanker, you're a wanker," and I was sat there, and I was just like, I'm 40 years old, and this 8-year-old's calling me a wanker, and I'm in my own bedroom, on my own bed.
That's hilarious.
And he's calling me a wanker. I was just like, what has my life come to? I'm being insulted by 8-year-olds.
Oh.
And I think I turned it off and never went online with it again.
It is that bad though, isn't it? Because they are kids, and you can get really wound up, rage quit. And it's like, they're just little kids or teenagers or whatever.
Yeah, but I was playing Call of Duty, I think it was like Modern Warfare, and I was playing it quite late, so the time zones, I was getting onto the American servers.
Yeah.
And I got in with this group, and they were obviously all American military.
Oh, God.
And they were taking it so seriously, like, and all the lingo was coming out. And they were like, where are you going? Because I just wandered off. Like, where are you going? You're going to compromise the mission. Get back here, get back here. You're going to compromise us. I think in the end I just dropped like a flash grenade, blinded them all, and they were all like, what are you doing, you twat?
I bet they didn't say twat.
No, they didn't.
No. Oh, but no, that's why I gear up with Red Dead Online. I don't know if they ever changed it. But I was quite looking forward to that because, I'd finished the game, loved the game, and started the online one. And you spawn and somebody just kills you, and it's like, oh, point. I don't get it.
I think they did it so that if they killed you too many times or too many people, they kind of got a bounty on their head. So then they couldn't ride into town. But it does make it unenjoyable.
Yeah, it wasn't fun because there were missions you could do on your own or, team up with people to do. So I thought, I'll have a go at it, but...
Yeah, I did it with one group. I didn't know them. They were all strangers. We did the mission, passed it, and then it sort of respawned you back in the proper online world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the twat shot me. And it's just like, seriously, dude, we've just done this mission.
Yeah.
And, you're not.
So what's the point? No, I need a bit of loyalty. But you used to play I always forget what it's called, that Warcraft game, and that's all teamwork, isn't it?
The World of Warcraft, yes.
Because I never played that.
I loved that game. I haven't played it for years, but I still miss it.
Oh, wow.
If I put it on the computer, the missus said, that's it, she's done.
Get gone.
I was so addicted to it. I'd start work at 6 and I'd get up at like 3 to do some bits on it before work.
Oh, wow. Oh, God, that is quite intense.
It's like I'd finish work at 2 because I was on early shift.
Yeah.
I'd get home, I'd boot up the computer, load it all up, then I'd go and have a shower, get ready.
Yeah.
And then I'd find myself sat in the dark, curtains open, having had no tea, and it would be like 12:30 at night.
See, when you say addicted to playing it, did you feel that if you didn't play it, something bad was going to happen? You were like, fear of missing out? Or was it just that you really, really, really liked it and just really wanted to play it?
It fed into several things. As we've probably said, I'm a collector of anything. Give me a set, and if I haven't got the set, I've got to collect it. So they start introducing bits of armour, and there's always that upgrade. It's like, I'll get this suit of armour, and then you've always got to grind to get the next bit.
Yeah.
So that was feeding that, and then there was just, you've got to improve.
Yeah.
Also, the fact I love things that I can escape reality from.
What's wrong with reality? Not doing too well at the minute.
It's quite boring. But yeah, I just love stuff that I can escape reality from. So
You're not allowed.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't played it for must be 6 or 7 years, and I still miss it. I see the new ones come out, and I'm like, I want to have a little go.
Could you not play it a little bit, or would you just fall down the hole again?
No, I'd probably fall down the hole again.
Oh, that's like
I've replaced it with D&D again, so
yeah, and I think D&D's. I mean, at least that's in person when we're allowed to play in person. And you can only do it as much as you've got other people to play with, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, going back to the World of Warcraft, there's no actual online voice chat.
Oh, okay. You don't get anybody calling you a wanker.
No, but you get like a message at the bottom, like a text message. But that's like public, or you can whisper someone, but you can then just mute them. If you wanted to do things like when you do a raid, so there's a group of 10, 20, whatever the raid party size is, you then sign up to, like, you'd use Discord, or I think when I was doing it, it was TeamSpeak.
Yeah.
It was kind of done like that. And you'd always have idiots on there.
Yeah. Oh, well, we've fallen down 2 holes already, quite dark ones, and we're like, 20 minutes in? We've not even... This is the introduction. It's gone wrong already.
Oh, what do we... we finished off Alien. We played that. Finished off my...
Yeah, we finished playing the Alien RPG.
Chariots of the Gods.
What was it like to GM?
I quite liked it. I wish the books, I found myself going back and forth through the books a bit more than I'd have liked. But I think the system was pretty easy. It
was easy to get to grips with. The game itself, I think, was more technically difficult, perhaps, but because the system of dice throwing was easy, you could sort of pick it up better, I felt.
Yeah, there was a few little bits I know that I ballsed up, but just sort of let slide and roll, which like, no, we've done
it's
that
the story
now.
That's more important than all tiny little technical rules sometimes.
Yeah, it's a game I'd like to have run in person more, because I think I'd be able to set more of the ambience than on Roll20.
Yeah.
Did the best I could.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as a player. Like doing a one-shot, I think you can get the story in quite neatly. Campaigns are good, I like playing campaigns that you come back to week after week after week after week, but just having that one-shot or 2-episode game is really good. And I really liked the theme, obviously.
Yeah, because they got they call it a cinematic, and I think it is just campaign games. So cinematic is designed to be a couple of one-shots, and I think is a lot more brutal than a campaign one.
Well, we all died. Did we all die? No, one of us got away.
Yeah, the company agent.
The company man got away. Damn him.
that was probably one of my best bits, was when he shot the pilot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you bastard.
Yeah.
Brilliant, but you bastard.
Bit of PvP, player versus player there.
But yeah, that's probably one of my best bits.
But no, I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you for running it. There are many more games I wish you to run, for I am not even considering GMing or DMing anything for many, many years, because I just do not feel up for that gig, really, at the moment. But yeah, so we played that. I've not done Masters this week, to be honest. But I did watch a couple of episodes of The Secrets of Cinema, which I mentioned in the last episode.
Was that Mark Commode?
Yeah. I saw the series advertised, and it started last Monday. Yeah, so that's why I hadn't watched it, because we record on a Monday, and then the following Monday morning the episode comes out. So it's actually on the 3rd series. I didn't realise. I thought it was a brand new thing. So I've gone back to the beginning. I've not watched the latest ones. and I watched a couple of episodes from the first series. And it's really entertaining as a programme, but it's educational, and I quite like things that teach you something. It's like a visual essay, and he describes things. He'll talk about a film, and then he'll point bits out in it that compare to older films and how the directors have got their point across, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And the first one was the rom-com, and I think rom-coms get a bit of a bad rap, really, because they sort of get pooed off a little bit. Like some.
I'm not a fan. I will admit, I'm not a fan.
I think it depends which ones you've seen, because there are some truly bad rom-coms, but then there's some truly bad horror films. There's some truly bad sci-fi films.
But then they get so bad, they're then good and funny.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas a rom-com gets so bad, it's just like watching some Hallmark film.
Right. We'll just box that conversation for a minute. Evil Dead. The first one was trying to be serious, and it was somewhat cringeworthy. And then they thought, shit, we've made this film. It were a bit shit. We better pretend it's a comedy. That's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, we'll pretend it's a comedy. And from then on, all the sequels to Evil Dead were like bad horror comedies, culminating in the last one, which I can't remember the name of, Army of Darkness. And that is pure, like, comedy horror then.
I'm sorry, you cannot diss Army of Darkness and Evil Dead. I love them.
Oh, no, I'm not dissing it. But,
if you did, I'd be hanging up.
Boomstick. I'm not dissing it, but do you not? That is a valid point, is it not? Number one, we're a serious horror film. Be afraid.
Was it serious?
Well, I think they were trying to be serious. I haven't looked this up, so we might be talking out our arses because I haven't looked it up. I don't like Googling everything to find out the inner workings because I prefer to try and make my own mind up, however wrong that may be. Because I felt like that about Lost Boys as well. I just thought Lost Boys was a bit...
I don't really like Lost Boys. It seems to be bigger than what I think it deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it and I was like, oh, is this what everybody's banging on about? And it seemed a little bit silly. And I've watched, I watch films from, really old films. So it's not just about age and people watching different things and finding different things funny or the technology that they had available or whatever. It's just Lost Dead. Evil Dead and Lost Boys just seem to have this, we're trying to be serious, but it just ended up being a bit meh. And then they tried to make a joke out of it. I don't know.
Have you seen...
That's my opinion.
Have you seen Peter Jackson's of Lord of the Rings fame?
I know, yeah,
his
go on.
Brain Dead film.
I have.
That is so amazing. That is cinematographic masterpiece. What about Bad Taste?
Yeah, I've seen them both.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it is about 15 years ago, and I've only seen them once. And at the time, the person that I was watching them with was of exactly the same opinion as you, thought they were amazing. And I was just a little bit underwhelmed, shall we say. They're not awful. I understand them, but...
They're not homely films.
I'm afraid not. But to go back to my original point, see, I sound like a dickhead. From this rom-com episode, it really brought back Bridget Jones to me. I really like Bridget Jones. Is it?
I see, they're films I've only seen once. I think I've only seen the first one once. I don't even know. Was there 2 or 3 of them?
I think there's 3 now. There the first couple were all right. The third one was a bit of a bring her back, earn some money.
I may have seen two. I've definitely seen the first one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the second one.
I mean, I don't like putting things into boxes of women will find this funny because of X, Y, Z. But it is a really funny film, and it just plays on all these insecurities. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a 30-year-old single bloke living on your own, but I know what it's like to be a 30-ish single person, wondering whether to wear the little sexy pants that give you the fat belly or the granny pants that give you the flat belly that look better in the dress. And that's like a real thing.
They're life choices I know nothing about.
Is this not something that you've had to wrestle with?
Is that the same as me going, oh, shall I put these budgie smugglers on, or this this pair of boxers?
Oh dear. We're supposed to be what's the word? Amalgamating as genders, and yet sometimes we just seem so far apart. Oh God. But I did watch another episode, heist movies, and they featured a film, again something I haven't watched for years and years, but it is so good. It's called Bound. And it's by the Wachowski brothers that did The Matrix as well. And basically, it's like a mob film, gangsters, what have you.
Yeah.
And the woman married to the mob boss has an affair with the female handy person caretaker of this building that they own, live in, whatever. And it's really clever. It like turns all the stereotypes of mob films on the head. So you've got the woman who is normally sort of the passive, beautiful creature idea, and she's actually the brains of the outfit. And the mob boss, who's obviously supposed to be the clever one, is basically this weak guy.
Yeah.
And when she has an affair with the caretaker person, I think it's for manipulative purposes originally, but then I think they end up falling for each other anyway. And it doesn't give too much away to say they end up getting away. But, it's done by the people that did The Matrix, so it's going to be clever and it's going to be interesting. So,
They couldn't do that for the second two Matrixes, though, could they?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, they were shit compared to the first ones.
Long silence.
I'm gonna edit that out.
You don't have to. It's an opinion.
I'm gonna edit it so that it sounds like you go. I say the two last Matrixes are shit, and then you go. I agree with you.
No, God, I really like all three Matrix films equally.
I really enjoyed the first one, but the second two were a bit.
We need to do this so people can watch us, because facial expressions when you're having a conversation, going, eyes rolling, it just adds so much. Because I rewatched all the Matrix films only, I think, last month. And I always kind of forget what happens in the third one. I don't know how. But no, I really liked all three.
Maybe I'll have to rewatch them.
Yeah, they are making a fourth, allegedly. Not sure what that's about.
See, my kind of heist films are things like the Guy Ritchie ones. I love Snatch.
Yeah.
I love Lock, Stock.
Yeah. I do like them. It's
Rock
been a
and Roll,
while.
It wasn't bad.
I've not seen them in a while, but I do remember watching them and enjoying them very much. So I'll have to.
I want to watch his new one. Is it The Gentleman?
Yeah. Oh, I keep putting that on Amazon, and then thinking, actually, no, I'm going to watch this instead. I was going to watch it last night, and I ended up watching Highlander. I'd been listening to Queen music all day. And then I watched Flash Gordon in the afternoon with my little boy.
The original?
And I was like, oh, yeah. Is there a remake?
Don't know.
Oh, no. Well, the original with all the Queen music.
Well, you've got the original TV series.
Oh, no. You know what I mean. Flash Gordon, the amazingly beautiful, camp, brightly coloured wonderfulness that it is.
Got Brian Blessed in.
Yeah. Then I just had to watch Highlander, which I'm presuming you still haven't seen.
No, never seen it.
How can you have not seen Highlander? How?
I don't know, really.
This does not compute. It's Highlander's like chief nerd sword film. It's like there. How did you miss it? What were you doing when you should have been watching Highlander?
I don't know, really. I just never got round to watching it. Just kind of never appealed.
Okay. Anyway. Well, this episode was supposed to be about dice. And
about 40 minutes in.
I think we've not even started. Well, we'll have a crack. Cause,
Is that because you don't want to talk about it?
What, dice? No, dice are incredibly interesting small objects. It's more that it's what you do with them that counts. But yeah, dice, why are we talking about dice? Why is it even a thing? If you've ever played a board game, something that we obviously talk about in the nerdy realm, and more importantly, D&D and role-playing games, it's all to create the element of chance. So I have done a little marginal bit of research. And to be honest, from my limited readings, nobody really seems to know where they sort of originated from, because they were about before written history.
I don't know. I had it in my head that they were kind of supposed to have been invented by someone at Troy. So.
Well, I mean, it probably depends what you read, but I think they were pictorial references before, writing was widely used. So I think they've sort of summarised that originally bones were used, knuckle bones of animals, and it was for fortune telling purposes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where the fortune telling then switched over to gambling. But people need something to do, don't they? I
wonder if there's a link there between fortune telling and fortune, as in winning a fortune.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's all guesswork, isn't it? I mean, all these seers and whatever else they would have been called. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they believed. This is another rabbit hole we could fall down right here. I mean, it's the idea that telling people's fortune is real. I mean, they obviously believed what they were talking about.
I brought a deck of tarot cards. There's not dice involved, but we'll go down this rabbit hole. I brought this deck of tarot cards, and it came with this book on how to do it.
Yeah.
So, me being a lazy-ass bastard, half read the book and then thought, I'll give it a go. So,
death.
I think you sort of had to pick some cards, and then I think it was something like ask it a question while you're picking them, or just think of a question in your head. Okay, I can do that. I asked the question. These 3 cards came out. None of them were death, but I didn't actually
means
know
rebirth
what.
anyway.
I didn't know what any of them were.
Yeah.
I was like, put them back in, shuffled it, asked it the same question, and the same 3 cards came out.
Ooh, spooky.
And I was just like, fuck this. Put them in the box. Put them in the loft. You know, and to this day, like, probably 20 years later, probably 25 years, they're still sat in the box up at my mum and dad's loft, and I've not touched them.
Oh, you got scared.
It was just like, oh no, fuck that. But to be fair, I don't know if there's more than one card of like a certain type, because I never actually looked at what they were.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there's 2 the same, but
I think there's all sorts of different variations of packs and things, so
it was just, to me, in my head, it was just like, no, that's too spooky. Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, I think we sort of can't help ourselves because we're obsessed with control, controlling your own life and what happens around us. So the whole fortune telling thing is like inevitable because you want to know, should I do this? Is it the right decision? What's going to happen? I don't directly believe in it.
Do they offer guidance, or do they tell you the future? I don't.
That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, it's interpretation. I mean, it's, you know, like reading your horoscope in a newspaper. A certain percentage of people that fall into that category, that will happen to. It's like averages, isn't it? Whereas having a one-to-one reading of whatever, tarot cards, palm reading, whatever. I think there's some very clever people out there, like Darren Brown, who can read you and put thoughts into your mind without you, you know, knowing what they're doing. So I am more on the scientific, don't believe it vein, but then I think you can't help yourself sometimes, and you want to fall into this because it makes you feel like you have a bit of control over, ultimately, what we don't have control over. Depressingly, because it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
So them 3 freak me out, so it's just, I said that. And I'm not telling you what the question was.
Oh,
that's mainly because I can't remember.
Oh, see, now I want to know.
I remember what that is, but
oh, it's rubbish. That's rubbish. Well, we'll leave fortune telling aside.
I didn't go, I'm going to write down the question and put it in with the cards so that I can remember the question in.
It must have been something quite profound, though.
I can't remember.
I mean, if you think, whatever football team going to win tomorrow, I mean, that's a bit shit. I don't know what you were into.
Well, hang on. Did I say it was 20 odd years ago? No, it's probably about girls, I imagine.
Oh, does she fancy me? Oh, you do that stuff as teenagers, though, don't you? Or doing silly things with numbers and putting your names together, and there's a 98% chance you'll get married. And
a Ouija board.
Yeah, and it's like all a load of piss, really, isn't it, to be fair?
The only time I did a Ouija board, I think we spent longer arguing who was pushing it than actually like doing anything on it.
Yeah. Well, you can. Well, I know, like in America, you can buy them in Walmart, and so it's like you can buy one.
Because that, you have to remember, the Ouija board used to be a game. It used to be an M&B game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it involved any dice. Getting it back on track.
No. For there are many games that do not involve dice, but there are many that do. Speaking of which, God, this is awful.
Right. According to my counter, we've got 10 minutes left.
Oh, we'll whiz through.
So by the time we've done the outro...
No. Dice as fortune telling. Dice as gambling. I mean, we don't need to go into that, you know. Everybody knows what a casino is.
Snake eyes.
Yeah, and they always do that. Is it craps? Where they're at that big table and they have to get sevens and they blow the dice and they throw it and they look really dramatic.
I don't know. You've been to Vegas, not me.
I have. God, I could spend an hour talking about that place. I won't be going back, I can assure you. Oh, dear me. It's all right on the surface, but do not scratch the surface because you will be heartily disappointed. The shows were good. I'll give it that. The shows were good. But yeah, the good old board games. You know, my little one plays Snakes and Ladders, and Monopoly. I mean, that's the ultimate. The first sort of game that you really learn to play. I think most people, family-wise, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know, I listened to a podcast about the history of Monopoly.
Did you?
And if I could remember any of it, I'd insert some of it now.
Yeah, but you can't remember any of it. That's awful.
I think it was a woman designed it. A woman?
A woman?
It.
No, surely not. Surely to goodness.
It was supposed to teach you like how to save money and economics and stuff. And then she sort of got really popular, and then somebody basically stole and modified it into the Monopoly that it is now.
Because the only way to win is to buy, and make yourself basically bankrupt buying everything up, and then winging it until everybody lands on your shit, and then you can get money off them. Play it safe. You will not win that game.
I don't think I've ever played it till anyone's won it.
Oh, right. I
think we always get bored.
My strongest memories of Monopoly, I used to play with my nieces, and I know for a fact that they remember. They probably won't listen to this podcast because they're not geeky enough. But the three of us would play, and every time one of them went off to the toilet, I'd have my hand in bank. grab a few hundreds.
Confessions are coming out now.
Oh, they know. We have talked about it. Or working out how much hotels and stuff cost. You know, again, I'd have my hand in bank. I'd pick up a couple of houses while nobody's looking. And
I'm seeing you in a whole new light now.
Just... Oh, I used to cheat like rotten me. Wanting to win was more important.
I'm going to log on to Roll20 now and see if you've checked your character sheet.
No, but this is it right now. Did you?
I did actually. I did. And your character's encumbrance. You got about 1 million torches.
We're not playing encumbrance. I'm over crumbled. That's what I used to say.
Crumbled. Well, you would be crumbling under all that weight.
I'm over crumbled. When I used to play Skyrim, I didn't see the word properly. I used to, we're over crumbled. But no, just on the whole honesty of game playing, because I used to cheat like a beast when I was a kid. I can't cheat at games now, because if I win and I know that I've cheated, it's just hollow. It's an empty
You said to me
victory.
this episode's about dice, but so far you've admitted to cheating at computer games by Googling. You cheated at Monopoly.
Oh, God.
Do you want to come clean about anything else?
Well... not today. We'll save that for another episode. The Confessions of Hayley. No. But I think what I really wanted to get to this late in the episode was to talk about D&D. To be fair, a little bit of meandering of dice, but D&D, other RPGs, they operate on dice. You know, the board of the board game either doesn't exist at all, or it's a make it up as you go, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the dice of D&D is the great decider.
Yeah. For the uninitiated, D means dice. I know it's not rocket science, but you can say dice or die, according to Wikipedia.
I always say dice.
Yeah, I don't like saying die. It sounds a bit pretentious. Can you pass me the die? But yeah, so we've got a D4, a D6, a D8, two D10s, but one has it's so you can roll 100, isn't it? So you've got your
tens and units, is it?
Yeah.
Of which now you have to have the argument of what is 100 and what is 0.
Oh God, I should have looked this up. Maybe somebody out there who's listening can help us out, because we have the same argument every time we play, and nobody ever seems.
I have looked it up before for like
Have
when
you?
we played Call of Cthulhu, and there's arguments for both. Some say that you can't get 100, so it's only like up to 99.
What represents 100 on the D10s, and what represents 1? I don't know, because I'm sure I've rolled dice sometimes and I'm like, is that 0 or 100? And it just seems to baffle me every time, and I'm sure it's really simple. If you know, please tell us. Go on Twitter, send us a message at NerdBunkerPod, please. But no, the ultimate is the D20. You know, you live or die on the D20.
Even the shape of it and is quite iconic to the game.
Yeah.
You've seen all the T-shirts and the mugs and that'll have just the shape of the D20 plastered all over it.
Yeah. I got a new set of dice for my birthday, and my little boy was rolling the D20. So this is the first time in his entire life that he's rolled a D20, and he got a 19. So, not quite all the way, but he got a 19, and I thought, oh, come on. But on the, getting dice as a present, I mean, it starts off as a bit of an obsession. And I'm not really into collecting things much, as we said in the last episode. But getting dice to play D&D with can get out of control. I mean, I don't know how many sets I've got, to be honest.
I got a great big dice bag, but it's pretty full.
Yeah. I got, it's actually a makeup bag, and it opens as a big circle, and it's got all these interior pockets, so I can separate all my D4s, D6s, D8s, D10s, blah, 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 and have all like my D20s in the middle, and it's just like a thing of beauty. I can just lay it out and see them all. Then this is really, really nerdy now.
The problem I have is when I've got my bag of dice, it's kind of just relaxing to just put my hand in it and then just run all the dice through them like... and then it's like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. What are they? The polyhedral dice, that's what they're called, aren't they?
Yes.
Which is just a fancy name for saying multiple faces, all of which are equal in size. But it helps when you're on Amazon trying to find a D&D set. But I have got that you actually got me a D3, a proper D3, rather than just rolling a D6 and half in it or whatever. Because that's not included in the standard set. But you do get asked to roll them occasionally, don't you? I have rolled it.
Yeah, the only game I've ever known to roll it, which is why I got you one, was Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. Well, that must be where I'm remembering it from then.
I was going to say, other than that, I've not come across any other game that you have to roll it.
No.
Plus, it's so small. Half the time I use the D6 anyway. But...
Yeah. But there are different shapes. I think I've seen a D4 that, rather than being the evil little triangle that it is, if you've never seen a D4 and you've stood on a piece of Lego, that's nothing.
It's like a little pyramid.
Oh my God. And I've got a metal one. It is just begging to be stood on and to impale you. They are vicious little buggers.
Why would you leave it on the floor?
Well, not on purpose.
Or are you walking on the table?
I'm walking on the table. You've seen Coyote Ugly? They were all playing D&D. Just don't stand on the D4s. But that's like a bit of an obsession when you're getting into playing D&D. I mean, you've got your fancy dice, and my God, some are so expensive. I mean, somebody that we know that we play with is shared, like in our messaging group, these really fancy ones, like made out of gemstones and stuff.
The mammoth bone.
And bone, and they're like thousands of pounds, and I'm like, Jesus. Oh.
Yeah, but you wouldn't roll them, would you?
Well, what's the point in having them if you ain't going to roll it? Stick it on the shelf.
Because I got our wedding anniversary was crystal, and my wife got me a crystal D20.
Ooh.
I've never rolled it for fear of chipping it. I'd never at the end of it if I broke a corner off it or something. That has to live on the mantelpiece with the 20 facing up.
Yeah, I can see it with that material because it is obviously delicate. But if you got one made of bone or something, even if it costs $2,000,
I don't know if I'd roll it.
Not that I'd spend $2,000 on a dice.
I'd maybe roll it like a special occasion.
Yeah, like when rich people get out the I don't know, the 1787 vintage brandy or whatever it is. You get out your £2,000 mammoth D20 because you are that nerd. But you can get all sorts. There's like we've said, special bags and boxes and stuff. Dice towers. I got a little fold it up job, which was quite cute, but it was more faff putting it together, so in the end I couldn't be arsed. But dice jails, now this sort of hops back to the whole fortune telling bit, because people do get very obsessed with dice being naughty, and if it keeps rolling low.
Yeah, I don't have a dice jail, but I have put them back in the bag and gone, nah, sod you, you're not playing fair. And tried to get a different one out.
Yeah. It's this dice isn't rolling properly. I'm going to try a different one unless it's weighted.
I've also played with people as well that won't let you touch their dice in case you jinx them. When you're like, oh, I've got to roll 10d6. Oh, you can't use mine.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm like, here, I vote you like.
Oh, right. Well, in that case, you can wait until I get them all out of this big bag.
It is dice and the element of chance. People getting too attached to them, but if it works for them,
I do have favourite dice, but my favourite at the moment is I got a large D20.
Yes, I do remember seeing that. Did you get that at the Games Expo?
Yeah, I got it at Games Expo.
Oh,
2019.
That was when we went to that Games Expo. That was literally like the most fun I'd had in such a long time. And obviously lockdown and what have you. And when, it's now last year's was cancelled. I was absolutely gutted. We had everything planned, hotels booked. We're going for 2 days. And then the world collapsed and there was no Games Expo.
No, unfortunately not.
But to save us from that, Roll20, where we've been playing our RPGs, D&D, Alien. What else have we played? We've played Cthulhu on Roll20 as well, haven't we?
No, I did Cthulhu just over Discord. I posted you out the character sheet so you could actually roll proper dice.
Ah, yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
so I was going to say, the rolling dice on a computer screen does not have the same magic as picking them up in your hand. When you're going to kill that big bad and you've leveled up, and your weapon is like 10d10 or whatever, and you've got all them dice in your hand.
Yeah,
that's a little piece of nerdy magic.
But we all know if you want to roll high, you have a good rattle, a good shaky handful.
Yeah.
Whereas
blow on it.
If you just click in the mouse and that's it.
Yeah, it's not the same. So it was nice when we played Cthulhu to roll real dice. I mean, obviously, going back to the whole cheating and honour thing. I mean, it's quite easy if you were playing with people that you didn't necessarily.
Well, before you admitted to all this cheating, the only reason I sat down and I thought, why am I getting so not hung up is not the word, but on Roll20, like even I do my dice so that you can see them, whereas normally I'd roll them behind the DM screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, normally, if you're sat at the end of the table, I'm not seeing what you roll.
Yeah.
And I'm still trusting you there.
Yeah.
So why am I getting, oh, it's got to be on Roll20 so I can see the dice rolls. And it was just like, well, why don't you just roll dice at home for that game? And
have you ever fudged a dice roll as a DM for a better story outcome?
as a DM,
Dun, dun, dun.
for the story outcome, yes.
Yeah.
I believe that D&D is storytelling. So for me, the story comes first.
Yeah. Learning the dice to play D&D can be a little bit of a faff. I mean, recognising which one is which was a bit of a mission to begin with. Whereas, like with Alien, where you're just using D6s and you need a 6 to pass, basically. And I know on Roll20, you don't even have the numbers. They've just got symbols, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah. But the 6 can be substituted for a picture, can't it? I think the dice that I've got,
good system
for Tales from the Loop, which I think you've got as well, 1 to 5 is normal, and then the 6 is a picture.
Still got to run Tales from the Loop for you.
I know. I think that's going to be a back burner for a while. I mean, there's so many other things. I mean, we've not played Starfinder yet, and I think Starfinder's something that we need to give a campaign to. Maybe not like a really long one, but I think it's worth more than a one shot.
What I've planned to do is Starfinder release these sort of adventures, but they all link together. So I've got the first one to see how it goes. So it'll be like a good number of sessions, but then there's also the possibility to carry it on if you're enjoying it, or you can end it at that point.
Yeah, that's sort of exactly what I was getting at. You need something in between a one shot and a 2-year campaign.
But as I say, Starfinder is, I'm finding, a really crunchy game.
Well, I've got the book and I've sort of had a bit of a flick through, but it does look a bit much. So I think I'm probably going to try and watch some videos on YouTube to get my head around it before I feel anywhere near confident to do anything dramatic with it, I think. But we have been waffling for a very long time, and it took us a very long time to get to what this episode was supposed to be about. I will end on fuzzy car dice, because they are dice.
Technically.
They are.
But can you roll them?
Well, you can roll it.
What about Han Solo's golden dice, his Sabak dice?
Oh, I don't know.
He's got a pair of golden dice that hang in the Millennium Falcon cockpit, hasn't he?
Has it? I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh, I shall have to have a look. But I did, it was a bit of a joke, but I did actually research fuzzy dice. And fighter pilots in World War II, that's where they originated. They used to hang dice in their aircraft because the majority of them, didn't come back. So it was for luck. And then the ones that survived sort of carried on the tradition. So, like in the 50s, that's when they started getting put on rearview mirrors. And I strongly remember it was something that, people used to have in their cars, like in the 90s. And then all of a sudden they disappeared, and I just thought they'd gone out of fashion. But apparently, you can get fined for having fuzzy dice in the UK, Australia, and some US states. So they obviously made a law against them.
I knew you couldn't have anything disrupting the view. Because when I have my car MOT'd, they take my air freshener down.
Oh, okay.
And dump it. It's like, oh, you bastards. I don't remember fuzzy dice so much, but I remember them stick-on Garfields.
I have a vague recollection. Oh God, what I don't know. I don't know if this was a northern thing, but were they called Vauxhall Novas?
Yeah.
And this was like all your boy racers, and they used to put stickers on the windscreen at the top, and it'd have like their name and their missus's name, or the best one was Novadose. It was so tragic. I was quite young at the time, but yeah, Ford Fiestas and Vauxhall Novas, they were the cars with all the fuzzy dice.
Fair enough.
And that, my friend, is dice, and a whole load of other crap that we've been waffling on about. So if anybody's still here, thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. For we have fallen down a few quite deep, dark rabbit holes this episode. But we're glad you're here. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you again next week. If you enjoy listening to us and you want to hear more of us, please go to patreon.com and find us, Nerd Bunker Pod. You can sign up and be one of our faithful followers. And we're going to be looking at releasing all sorts of special stuff for anybody that signs up.
Are we going to have to give them a special name, like a podette or something? You know.
Well, we can have it as anything that we want. I mean, this is, what do you want to be called? We can be as creative as we want with that one.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. Talk to us on Twitter at Nerd Bunker Pod, Instagram Nerd Bunker Pod, Facebook Nerd Bunker Podcast. We are uploading to YouTube as well under Nerd Bunker Podcast. There are some strange visuals that I've been adding to them until we're in a state where we dare put our faces upon the camera for you to see.
I need to afford my Botox. and maybe a hair transplant.
See, this is why we need you to go to patreon.com, because we need lots of plastic surgery and some DIY in our houses so we can make a proper studio.
Foam padding.
Yeah. So we sound better and we have something nice for you to look at. So, go to Patreon for our plastic surgery fund, please. It's been great having you with us, and it's been great doing another podcast. So thank you very much for being with me, Mike.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Intro music is Battle Theme by Kamiku, and is used under Creative Commons Zero license. All copyrights are property of their holders, and everything else belongs here in the bunker. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Nerd Bunker Pod, and like us on Facebook. Please leave a review as it really helps them out. Thank you for listening.